I've got a feeling that Canelo's still going to be next. I think with the influence of His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh, we know what he wants, and he wants to make Canelo versus Crawford. And normally, when there's something that he wants, there's a running theme that he tends to get it because a lot of money gets shown at the end of the day. Boxing is a business. And I think Crawford's getting to that stage of his career now where there's not, he's definitely towards the back end rather than towards the early stage of his career. He's already a 2-weight undisputed world champion, a 4-weight world champion. I wouldn't be shocked to see the Canelo fight get made next, but if not, I can't see him going to 160. I think he'll just stay at 54. I don't see him going back down. I think he's done everything that needs to be done down at 147. So I think either he'll stick at 154 or Canelo. And if I was going to hedge my bets on either one of them to be more likely, I'd genuinely say there's probably more of a chance that he faces Canelo next. That's just how I see it.
Let me just play with 154 for a moment, Josh, and let me throw some names at you. Of the names I'm about to throw at you, which of these would you like to see? The winner of Virgil Ortiz versus Sergey Boachuk in with Terence Crawford, Sebastian Fundora in with Terence Crawford, Bakram Murtazaliev in with Terence Crawford, or any other name at 154. Josh Kelly with British interest was floating around there now. I think he's moved up to middleweight to fight on against Liam Smith. But any of the other names or contenders at 154, Erickson Lubin is around there. Xander Zayas is there. Who do you want to see in with Terence Crawford next if he stays at 154?
I like the look of Fundora. Fundora's always been an interesting fighter for me to watch, just based on the fact that he's such a unique fighter in terms of the way he's built, but the way he's fighting at, or the weight he's fighting at. I mean, we saw the issues that he caused for Tim Tszyu. Obviously, I know there was a big cut there that affected the fight, but he still did enough to get the victory. And I know there was the talk of Fundora versus Spence, but we've not seen a lot of where that's really going. I don't really think we'll see Spence in the ring for a while if he is to get back in the ring still. But out of all those names you have mentioned, either Virgil Ortiz Jr., again, I think that would be a very interesting fight. We've seen how good Virgil Ortiz Jr. can be. But Fundora, I think it would just be an interesting fight. I'd be interested to see the way how Crawford gets around that really long build that he's got and that long reach that he has.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the most exciting fight at that weight for Terence Crawford definitely stands to be Sebastian Fundora, because he's not a puzzle. He's not anything he really needs to figure out in that sort of sense. He has to get over the natural physical attributes of Fundora, who throws hell for leather and looks for the knockout as well too. And Buddy will looking to set up that knockout and counter off of him all night long. So it's definitely will likely lend itself to be an action-packed full fight there. As would Virgil Ortiz Jr. too as well, who think he'd have something to prove as well with his first big chance at a huge name on his resume, lending itself to be another all-action type of affair as well. So I think those two are the names you'd kind of look to pitch yourself at 154 if Terence Crawford does indeed look to stay. But let's move on to that next topic, and you've talked about it here. And the title, of course, is called, I've set this up. I tried to make sure my puns or my my little captions were on the level of Danny Flexen's. I don't think I quite got it, but You Want Payday is the next one, of course, harkening back to one of Canelo's infamous moments, looking like a true boss with his interaction and altercation with Demetrius Andrade. So You Want Payday. That's most that with the rumors and the Saudi influence and the Saudis kind of saying that they've made an offer now to Canelo Alvarez, a big offer, one that with the names of the likes of David Benavidez and others, in really kind of not in contemplation, you looking for that next big kind of fight poster, that fight date, that fight night, and the one big fight which has real kind of pound for pound ramifications, and one big fight that I think boxing fans and would seep over to boxing audiences and gets boxing fans talking is this pound for pound showdown between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. But Canelo's also kind of put the kibosh on that. He said, look, what do I look to gain from that fight? I'm giving up loads of weight. It doesn't do anything for me. You won't give me the credit for beating Crawford because I'm still very good. I weigh more than him. I'm allowed to weigh more than him because I've done so much in my career. I can call these shots. So if I call my shots and choose my shots where I'll pick my shots where I want them, and this is the fight, and this is how I want the fight, and this is the way I want the fight, and then I go beat Crawford, I go knock him out like or stop him like I have done, even though that's been not as Canelo hasn't done that as much in his last few fights. If he ends up doing that, you won't give me the credit that I deserve for fighting him. And I completely get that point of view. Whether the Saudis can offer enough money to Canelo Alvarez to kind of make him change his mind on that point of view, and maybe the money will outweigh the lack of credit because the credit in the bank balance will be so high, is another thing that might be more likely. But when it comes down to it, Josh, how much of a shot would you give Terence Crawford over Canelo? Do you feel that Terence Crawford's IQ, his skill, can kind of carry himself, and his own natural frame? He's a big, tall guy as well, too tall for the weight at 147 and 154. Is it at a good weight? Do you think it can carry through to 168? And do you think he can, really upset the odds as it would be against Canelo Alvarez?
I don't think so. I don't think he has a chance against Canelo. Definitely, Crawford's no bum. He's one of the best fighters in the world. But I think going to 168 is that step too far. I think we all kind of got a bit brought back down to reality, I guess you could say. Obviously, all the talk before the Madrimov fight was, oh, it's going to be Canelo next. I don't think there was a lot of talk on Madrimov at all, really, when you talk to people about it. A lot of it was saying, Crawford wins this, it'll be on to Canelo. And don't get me wrong, if he put in a statement performance against Madrimov and looked just as good as what he did against Errol Spence last year, we could be sat here right now and having a completely different conversation about Canelo versus Crawford. But from what I saw, from what I've seen from Canelo, I know a lot of people have been saying Canelo's looking a little bit on the slide in his last few fights. But I don't really see Crawford causing a lot of trouble to Canelo. I think Canelo's just that bit too big, possibly maybe a little bit too smart. I don't think the power that Crawford has does carry through to 168 as well as it has at other weights. I just think Canelo. I'm not saying it's an easy fight for Canelo at all, but I can't see Crawford having a lot of success in that fight. If that's me being truly honest.